Hare Krishna, everyone. Welcome to our class on Srimad Bhagavatam study.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Mataji. We have started the class, so welcome to all to our class on Srimad Bhagavatam study. The topic of today's class will be from Canto 1, Chapter 2, and we will start from the first verse of Chapter 2. Although the slides are available till 15th verse, but we may not be able to cover all the 15 verses, so probably might be targeting till 10th or 11th verse. If we have time, we will continue till 15th verse. The topic of this chapter, the second chapter, is divinity and divine service. Overall, this is our fourth class. We have started Srimad Bhagavatam study only a month ago, and for those who are joining us for the first time, I would request to view the recordings that are available on YouTube to catch up with the subject matter. For Mangalacharan, we had requested Anupama Mataji for Mangalacharan prayers, and I don't see Mataji still available on screen. So may I request devotees to volunteer someone to recite Mangalacharan prayers? Manish Prabhu, you want to do it?
Yeah, sure.
Okay, please go ahead.
Yeah. Om Ajnanatimirandhasya Jnananjanashalakaya Chakshurum Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayamarupa Kadamayam Tadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Guruna Vaishnavamcha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunatanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parajana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namastute Tripta Kanchana Gaurangi Shri Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vanchakalpatrubhyascha Krupa Sindhubhya eva cha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vranda Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare
Prabhu, we have lost your voice.
Hare. So you could hear me?
Yeah, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna,
Krishna
Hare
Hare, Hare Ram,
Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Ram Hare. Very nice. Thank you very much. So now let me recite these prayers which we typically recite just before the Bhagavatam class. And from next class onwards, I would also request devotees who are reciting Mangalacharan prayers to recite these prayers also. Today you will hear a little bit about the background about these prayers. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayam Mudirayet Nashtaprayeshu Abhadreshu Nityam Bhagavat Sevaya Bhagavate Uttama Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtiki Krishnaya Vasudevaya Devaki Nandanaya Cha Nanda Gopa Kumaraya Govindaya Namo Namaha. So, welcome once again all the devotees, and before we enter into the subject matter of today's class, let me invite His Grace Vasudevan Prabhu to present a small recap of the previous class, class number 3. Vasudevan Prabhu have been associated with our classes right from the day one. I still distinctly remember I was given this opportunity to present something on Bhagavad Gita on September 2019. We had made some announcement. We had organized a Janmashtami festival, and in which we had invited people to attend our Bhagavad Gita classes. And Vasudevan Prabhu was sitting right in the very front row of that class, holding his Bhagavad Gita. I don't know which commentary was that, but he was holding the Bhagavad Gita. And from that day till today, Prabhuji is very sincerely attending our programs and classes. Prabhu is a senior executive in a company by the name Himmat Sinka, and has been very very sincere and faithful in attending our programs, attending quizzes and so on. And you also would have experienced that he always bring his perspective on various issues when discussion is going on. So very much uh, eager to hear from Prabhu's version of recap of the previous class. Very warm welcome to Vasudevanji. Hare Krishna Prabhuji, please.
Hare Krishna Guruji, Dandavat Pranam, and thank you for the undeserving kind words. So, Dandavat Pranam and Hare Krishna to all Prabhujis and Matajis. So last class, which was the third class of Bhagavatam, we covered from slokas 4 to 23 of chapter 1 of Canto 1. And basically this section covers the 6 questions asked by Rishis to Sutta Maharishi. So the Rishis assembled at Naimisharanya offered seat to Sutta Goswami, a special seat of deserving of his caliber, and praised his qualities in slokas 6 to 8. And the praises that they used were anagha. Anagha means one who is sinless, who is free from simple. Then they said saumya. Saumya means gentle, pure, and simple. And this gentle, pure, and simple, and submissive is important, because when you are submissive to the gurus, then the gurus also reveal all the secrets to you. Then stigdha, which is submissive and obedient. Then adithani akhyani, which is well read in scriptures and good at explaining them also. It's not only read, he is also good at explaining the scriptures. And then Vedam Shrestha means learned in Vedas and also senior and elder in this learning. And we saw 2 important purports of Srila Prabhupada in this. One was hearing and explaining is more important than reading alone. So explaining brings greater nuances, and you also have to go through them thoroughly. And second important purpose of secret of success in spiritual life is satisfying the spiritual master and getting his blessings. See, unless you get your master's blessings, you can't progress. And so it is important to serve the master in a way that he is happy and you get his blessings. Then we move on to the 6 questions, which is slokas 9 to 23. In 9th sloka, they ask the first question, what is the, please explain in easy and understandable way, what is absolute and good for people? And the reason they're asking this question is explained in sloka 10. It says, since in Kali Yuga, people are short-lived, lazy, and misguided, unfortunate and disturbed. Why they are unfortunate and disturbed? Because they are after sense gratification. So that is why they are asking what is the ultimate good for people in Kali. Then sloka number 11, they are asking the second question, which is a problem we all have. There are numerous scriptures. What is the essence of the scriptures that benefits everyone? And then they are move on sloka 12, they are asking the third question, which is, what is this reason for which Krishna incarnated? So having asked these 3 questions, then in slokas 13 to 16, they talk about the glories of hearing, glories of the Lord's name, and glory of the association with devotees. So what the rishis are saying is, we are eager to hear about Krishna since it is beneficial and uplifting. And they follow it up in Sloka 16 with saying, who desiring deliverance from sins would not want to hear Lord's glories. So this is their glorifying the importance of hearing. Then in Sloka 14, they are saying about the holy name. Holy name is so powerful that even when taken unknowingly, it liberates immediately from the cycle of birth and death. And Prabhuji very well explained the story of Ajamilan, which also comes in Bhagavatam later. So that's where we saw the power of the Lord's name. And then in Sloka 15, they talk about association with devotees who are taken shelter under the lotus feet of the Lord. They purify immediately, and they purify in such a way that not only our sins are cleansed, but our tendency to commit sins is also eliminated. Whereas taking bath in holy rivers Ganges, it purifies after prolonged use. Second is it only clears our sins. It does not deal with our tendency to commit sin. So then moving on, they are moving on to the fourth question, which is Sloka number 17. They say, describe about Lord's Purusha avatars. And in Sloka 18, they are asking the fifth question, please describe about Lord's Leela avatars. Now, this Prabhuji also explained about different types of avatars. We will not go into the detail here in the recap. Then from Sloka 19 to 22, they are summarizing why they want to hear. They say, we are never satiated by hearing about the glorious activities of the Lord, and the taste for the hearing increases with engagement. And it is true, whenever as you hear more and more, you want to hear more. Unlike material attraction, here by hearing or getting into devotional service, your taste, you want more. Whereas in material attraction, you get bored or you want something different. But here in spiritual, that is the specialty of the spiritual engagement. And then they are also saying Lord Krishna along with Balrama did so many superhuman activities. Now that the age of Kali has arrived, you are the captain who can help us sail over the insurmountable ocean of Kali. So they are seeking help of Sutta Goswami in Kali. And then in the last sloka, 23rd sloka, the last question number 6, they're asking, who did Dharma take shelter after Lord Krishna's departure to his eternal abode? Now, Prabhuji concluded the class with the explanation of the 5 processes of Shravanam, Pathanam. Shravanam is hearing, Pathanam is self-study, Mananam, recollecting, Nididhyasam, contemplation, and Kirtanam, or presenting. And he also pointed out that other than contemplation, Nididhyasam, the other 4 we'll be employing in this as a process in these classes. And all these questions were answered by Sutta Goswami in chapters 2 and 3. I just want to add one personal observation, which is not, if I have the permission, Prabhuji.
Yes, Prabhu.
So these 6 questions are like leading questions. The answer for these 6 questions is the whole Bhagavatam story. And the rishis, who are all knowledgeable, who are sincere, are knowingly asking a question for which the answer is only Bhagavatam. It's just like same thing happens in Ramayana. In Ramayana, when Narada comes to Valmiki's ashram, Valmiki is asking a leading question that who is having these 20 qualities, who should also be living now currently in the world. And Narada smilingly answers Lord Rama and explains Ramayana in brief, Samkshepa Ramayana. And then, of course, we have the other incidents take forward. So there also Valmiki asked a very leading question for which the answer can only be Rama. And similarly, here also the questions are such that the answer can only be Bhagavatam. You want to know the Purusha avatars, you want to know the Leela avatars, you want to know why Krishna incarnated, and where is the Dharma, who took shelter from. All this answer is in Bhagavatam. So for us, it's telling us how important Bhagavatam is. Thank you,
Yes.
Prabhuji, for this opportunity, and thank you for a patient hearing.
Thank you very much, Vasudevan Prabhu. It was very nicely recapped the previous class, and really appreciate your observation that you made in the end regarding Ramayana. And it's very similar to what we see in the Srimad Bhagavatam. So Ramayana is a itihas and the Bhagavatam is a Puran. So both these body of literature have one thing in common. There are question and answers in both Srimad, in the Puranas and in the itihasas. The only difference is in the itihasas, the question answer is about a particular dynasty or a particular lineage or family. Like in Ramayana and Mahabharata, we have in Ramayana we have Surya Vamsh, and in Mahabharata we have Chandra Vamsh, like Kurus and so on. But in Puranas, the conversations are of multiple levels. There could be conversation between two personalities and two other different personalities, but the main objective of conversation is to bring out one particular theme. So in Srimad Bhagavatam, the main theme is Lord Shri Krishna and his devotion and his devotees. So that you would see in the main subject matter spread all across Srimad Bhagavatam. So thank you very much for that point, and let us now begin the discussion of the subject matter of class today. And you can see the overview map of chapter number 2. Overview map means the chapter has several themes, and it has total number of verses like 34, and 34 verses have been divided among several themes, as you see in your screen here in front of you. Today we will try to cover the theme number 1, which is Sudha Goswami now start to reply to the questions that have been asked by the sages. Before he actually replies, he pays his obeisances to his teachers, his spiritual masters, and appreciates the questioners. Then in the next theme, we will, after giving his reply to the question number 1 and 2 in this first theme, then Sudha Goswami actually elaborates upon that response from verse number 8 to 15. So most likely we are going to our target is to complete till verse number 15 today, but I think it will be a little too much of the subject matter to cover till 15, but let us see till where we get the time. We have still some 1 hour 10 minutes to the discussion. Yeah. So today's class we have Vasudevan Prabhu, Manish Prabhu, and Vidya Mataji, who would help us in reciting the verses. So I will be doing the recitation, and they will follow the recitation after me. And in future also, if other devotees would like to volunteer, because I see there are few new devotees who have joined our classes. So this is mainly for those who would like to volunteer to recite Mangalacharan prayers in the beginning of the class, who would recite to do this service of preparing the summary of the previous class and sharing it with us sometime before the class begins, and also present the summary. So that is something like Kirtan aspect, where you make a presentation. And then the third point is, if you would like to volunteer in reciting the verses, reading the excerpts from the purports, you can always send me a message, and we will include you in the list, and will make you participate in these activities. So let us begin the discussion for today with verse number 1. And I would request Manish Prabhu to kindly help me in recitation of this verse. So now Sudha Goswami has heard the questions of the sages, and now he is starting to respond. So before responding to the questions, he actually appreciates the questioners, the sages of Naimisharanya. Sudha Goswami actually appreciates. Okay, I will do the recitation. Vyasa uvacha iti samprashna samhrishto. Manishji, you can recite recite after me.
Yeah.
Iti samprashna samhrishto. Yes.
Vyasa uvacha iti samprashna samrishto.
Vipranam Raumaharshanihi.
विप्रप्रणनामरौ महर्षिणी
Vipranam Raumaharshanihi.
विप्रानामरौ महर्षिणी
Pratipujya Vachastesham.
प्रतिपूज्य वसस्तेषां
Pravaktum Upachakrame.
प्रवक्तुम् उपचक्रमे.
Yes. Now, as I mentioned, Sut Goswami is now starting to respond to the questioners. And before he responds, he actually appreciates the way they have asked these questions. So he says, Iti sam prashna sam hrishto. So sam prashna here means, so prashna means question, but sam prashna means perfect questions. Your questions are very perfect. Your questions are very good. And then samhrishto. Samhrishto means I am very satisfied to hear your questions. Your questions are so good that I am very, very satisfied that you are asking these questions. Vipranam Raum Harshini. So Raum Harshini actually means it is referred here for Sut Goswami. So Sut Goswami is the son of another sage by the name Rom Harshan Suta. Rom Harshan Suta. So, Sut Goswami's another name is Ugrashrava, but here in this verse he has been mentioned by his father's name, Raum Harshini. So, Raum Harshini is being referred to by this name, and then he says, Prati Puja. Prati Puja. Puja means so like offering worship. Prati Puja means I offer my worship back to you. Because in the beginning of the class, in the beginning of this this discussion, the sages of Naimisharanya praises Sut Goswami and offer him a very elevated seat of the speaker. And then here now Sut Goswami is saying Prati Puja. Prati Puja means I return your worship by Prati Puja. I also actually offer my worship to you. So in simple words, he's saying Dhanyavad. He's saying I also say thanks to you. Vachas Tesham. Vachas Tesham. So Vachas Tesham means your words are very good. And then Pravaktum Upachakrame. Pravaktum Upachakrame means now he becomes ready to answer the the questions offered by the sages of Naimisharanya. Now this verse has been spoken by Vyasdev. So he's narrating what now goes on further. And then from second verse, Shukdev Goswami, Shut Goswami actually starts to pay obeisances. So here you see from verse number 1 till 3, Sut Goswami will now offer obeisances to Shukdev Goswami. Now who is Shukdev Goswami? Shukdev Goswami is the guru of Sut Goswami. How come Shukdev Goswami is guru of Sut Goswami? Because Srimad Bhagavatam was for the very first time was spoken by Shukdev Goswami. And Shukdev Goswami spoke Bhagavatam to Parikshit Maharaj. And that discussion will come in Bhagavatam little later. So when Shukdev Goswami was speaking Bhagavatam to Parikshit Maharaj, Sut Goswami was also present in that assembly. And he heard Srimad Bhagavatam from Sut Goswami. So Sut Goswami is considering Shukdev Goswami as his spiritual master. And before he starts speaking Srimad Bhagavatam, he's offering his pranams, he's offering his obeisances to Shukdev Goswami. And if you read this verse, the verse number 2, Shukdev Goswami has been offered obeisances by Sut Goswami, and it has been offered in a very elegant way. The verse, if you read the verse and its meaning, the way he is offering his obeisances is very unique. It's a very creative way he's offering his obeisances, I would say like that. So Manish ji, can you please once again help me recite this
Yes.
verse?
Yeah.
Okay. So the verse is Suta Uvacha
Suta uvacha
Yam Pravrajantam Manupetam Apeta Krityam
Yam pravrajanantam anuktam apeta kritam.
I'll recite once again. Yam pravrajantam anupetam apeta krityam.
Yam pravra okay. Yam pravamjantam
Pravra.
anuktam apeta. Yeah. Sorry.
Okay. Let me break. Yam pravrajantam.
Yam pravamjantam
Pravrajantam.
Yam pravrajantam
Yam pra
Yam
Pravrajantam.
pajam
Anupetam.
anupetam
Apeta krityam.
apeta krityam.
Apeta krityam. Okay.
Apeta
Yam
krityam.
pravrajantam anupetam apeta krityam.
Yam pravajantam anuktam apeta krityam.
Wonderful. Dvepayano viraha katara ajuvahva.
Dvaipaneyo viraha katara ajuahva.
Dvepayano viraha katara ajuhava.
Dvaipano viraha katara ajuahva.
Putreti tanmayataya taravo vinedus.
Putreti tan mayataya tarevo bhinedus.
Tam sarvabhuta hridayam munim anatosmi.
Tam sarvabhuta rudayam munim anatosami.
Wonderful, Prabhu. Wonderful. Very nice. Appreciate your effort. Okay.
Thank you.
So you will see this verse. This verse is very, very creative in terms of paying obeisances to the Guru. Now let us try to understand each of the lines of this verse, and you will find so much of other kind of information and knowledge you will receive from this verse. So the first line says, Yam pravrajantam anupetam apeta krityam. Yam pravrajantam anupetam apeta krityam. Now what does this line means? Pravrajantam. So the word pravrajantam means, so there is a little story behind Suta Goswami. There's a little story behind Shukdev Goswami. So Shukdev Goswami, when he took birth, he was already 16 years of age. So normally, when somebody takes birth, he is in the womb of his mother or her mother for 9 months. But for Sukdev Goswami, it was 16 years. So he continued to grow till 16 years, and after that only he took birth. So immediately after he took birth, he went away from his home. Immediately he left his home. Why he left home? He left home to take sannyas. So the word pravrajantam means going away to take sannyas. Going away to take sannyas. And anupetam. This word anupetam, this means without being reformed by the sacred thread ceremony. So sacred thread ceremony means that yagyopavit. So in the Vedic system of living, when the birth of child is taken, then there are various sanskaras, various ceremonies, which are called as ceremonies of purification. So according to the Vedic literatures, according to the Vedic wisdom, when the human being takes birth, he is considered to be ignorant. He is not considered to be a learned person. But throughout the life, there are various ceremonies, and the purpose of these ceremonies is purification. And at each of these ceremonies, when these purifications are happening, then the person is considered to be grown up, not only in age, but also in wisdom. So here it is being said, Yam pravrajantam, Yam pravrajantam anupetam apeta krityam. Now, apeta krityam means the ceremonies, various ceremonies of purification. Anupetam means the ceremony of sacred thread, and apeta krityam means the ceremonies of purification. Now, the total line means, this particular line, line number 1, it means Yam pravrajantam anupetam apetakrityam. Yam means it is referring to Shukdev Goswami. Say that person who did not undergo prescribed ceremonies but straight away went to take sannyas. On his birth, there was no prescribed ceremonies of Yajnapavid or no prescribed ceremony of any other purification, but straight away, without undergoing any prescribed ceremonies of purification, he straight away left his home to take sannyas. That is the meaning of the first line. So it is referring to one of the characteristics or one of the facts in the life of Shukdev Goswami. And then Dvaipayano viraha katara ajuhava. Dvaipayano. Now Dvaipayano is the name of Srila Vyasdev. Now who is Srila Vyasdev? Vyasdev is father of Shukdev Goswami. So Shukdev Goswami, although he took birth after 16 years, and then immediately he took birth, he left his home. And when he left home, what happened? His father, Vyasdev, ran after his son. Oh my son, like that, crying, he ran after his son. So Dvaipayano viraha katar ajuhava. Ajuhava means he's crying, he's shouting while he's running behind his son, he's shouting. And viraha katar, viraha means having this feeling of separation, and with lot of feelings, lot of emotion, viraha katar. He's actually shouting and running behind after his son. His son is leaving the home without undergoing any auspicious ceremonies of purification. He's left his home as if he's going to take sannyas, and then his father Dvaipayana is running after his son, crying his name and saying what he's crying. What he is crying? He's crying this: Putreti, Putreti, Tanmayatayo, Tanmayataya. Tanmay means with lot of emotion, with lot of feelings. Putreti, oh my son, oh my son, oh my son. And while Vyasdev is running after his son Shukdev to out of separation, out of feeling of separation, he's crying, oh son, oh son. And what is happening in return? In return, Taravo Abhinedus. So you can see here, Taravo Abhinedus. Taravo means the trees. Taru means the trees. Abhinedus means echoing. So like you would know that when we, in an open space, when we shout, when we make some loud noise, there's an echo. So similarly, it is a area of woods, it is area of forest. Shukdev Goswami has left his home. He has taken kind of sannyas without undergoing any purification ceremony, and Vyasdev is running behind him and he's shouting, oh my son, oh my son. And then the trees in that wilderness is echoing the same sound. So Vyasdev is saying, oh my son, come back, oh my son, come back. So the trees are also shouting, oh my son, come back, oh my son, come back, like that echo is having. And then here Sut Goswami is saying, Tam sarva bhuta hridayam munim anatosmi. Now, after reciting these first three lines, immediately then Sut Goswami is offering his obeisances. Munim anatosmi. Munim anatosmi means, O Muni, O Shukdev Muni, please accept my pranams, please accept my humble obeisances. And then before he says Munim anatosmi, Tam sarva bhuta hridayam. You are actually capable of entering the hearts of all the living entities. You are capable of entering the hearts of all the living entities. Okay. Now here, what is the creativity in this verse? The creativity in this verse actually is explained by Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur in his purports. So he's saying, Vishwanath Chakravarti Pad is saying that Shukdev Goswami actually entered into the heart of the trees, because here in the third line you see there is a description, Taravo Abhinedus. Taravo Abhinedus means that there was an echo. There was an echo from the trees. The Vyasdev was saying, oh my son, come back, oh my son, come back. and there was echo from the trees. Now, from where this echo was coming? So Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur is saying that Shukdev Goswami actually entered into the heart of the trees. And while Vyasadev, father of Shukdev Goswami, was shouting, "Oh my son, oh my son." So in order to pacify his father, in order to give his father some relief, Shukdev Goswami, who entered inside the trees, actually echoed from the trees the same thing what what Vyasadev was echoing, was what Vyasadev was shouting. So the point here is what Sut Goswami is actually trying to say is, "Oh my dear Guru, oh my dear teacher Shukdev Goswami, you are so capable, you are so capable, you are so great that you can enter even into the heart of the trees." You know, trees are actually considered into be mode of ignorance, tamoguna. The trees simply stand like that. Even if there is rain, somebody shouting at them, nothing, no reaction. So they are something like very dumb and dull, which is the quality of tamoguna. So trees are in the mode of ignorance. And then what Sut Goswami is saying that, "Oh my dear spiritual master Shukdev Goswami, you are so great, you are so capable that you can enter into the heart of the trees which are based in tamoguna. Now, kindly be merciful to me. Kindly be merciful to me, and please enter into my heart also. You can even enter into the heart of the trees, then why can't you enter even my heart? You please enter into my heart and make my voice so capable that I can also enter into the heart of the listeners of Srimad Bhagavatam. I can also become so capable, I can also become so powerful to be able to enter into the heart of the listeners of Srimad Bhagavatam." So I'm going to narrate Srimad Bhagavatam to these sages. They have asked me, they have presented a query to me, they have presented few questions before me. I am about to speak Srimad Bhagavatam. "Oh my dear spiritual master, please, you are so capable that you can enter into the hearts of even trees. You can enter into the hearts of all the living entities. So please kindly enter into my heart also, and make my speech, make my lecture, make my voice so glorious that I can actually impact, I can actually bring some transformation into the heart of those who are asking to speak me Srimad Bhagavatam." So that is a very creative way Shukdev Goswami has been glorified by his disciple Suta Goswami. So this is the verse. But the lesson for us is that this should be the mood of the speaker of Srimad Bhagavatam. So any speaker of Srimad Bhagavatam, before he embarks upon this journey of speaking Srimad Bhagavatam, actually should in a very submissive way, should pray for benediction, should pray for Ashirvad from his own gurus, from his own spiritual master, from his own many other Shiksha gurus, so that he can deliver this message with utmost sincerity, with utmost care, and with utmost usefulness, and intelligently and effectively, and so on. So that is the main message for people like us from this verse. So in this slide you can see there's a picture I have presented where Srila Vyasadev, here you can see, is running, and then Shukdev Goswami. So Shukdev Goswami is seen here without any clothes. So because he had just taken birth, and just after he took birth, he just left his home. So I have given you some description here. Instead of 9 months, Shukdev Goswami remained in the womb of his mother for 16 years. Immediately he ran into the forest after his birth. And how did he came back to his home? That is also a very interesting story. So when Shukdev Goswami left his home, he because he was completely renounced. He was completely renounced, and he did not need any kind of purification of Yajnapavid or any other ceremony, like it has been mentioned in the previous verse. He did not need any kind of purification ceremony like that. So what did Vyasdev do? Vyasdev actually approached two hunters, and he taught these hunters couple of shlokas glorifying Lord Krishna, and told these hunters that if you speak these verses, the animals you want to hunt upon, they will actually be attracted, and you will be able to catch those animals without any extra effort. So these hunters, they went out for hunting the animals and started reciting these verses, which were about glorifications of Lord Krishna. And Shukdev Goswami was somewhere there in the woods, in the forest. And when Shukdev Goswami heard those shlokas from these two hunters, he was captivated by the glorification of these of the Supreme Lord, and he immediately became attracted towards these verses. And he immediately approached these hunters and asked these hunters, from where did you learn these? And the hunters took Shukdev Goswami back to his father Vyasdev. And once Shukdev Goswami was back to his father Vyasdev, he learned Srimad Bhagavatam from his own father. So that's how the story is, little bit. And in the purport, Srila Prabhupada actually mentions a little description about the way the Vedic society is organized. So in this purport, Srila Prabhupada actually mentions there was no need of ceremonies for Srila Shukdev Goswami. So maybe Manish Prabhu, can you help me read this little excerpt here? Yeah.
Yes, Prabhu. So Srila Sukdev Goswami was a Vaishnava from the beginning. Therefore, there was no need for him to undergo all the processes of the Varnashrama institution. Ultimately, the aim of Varnashrama Dharma is to turn a crude man into a pure devotee of the Lord or a Vaishnava.
Wonderful. Yes. So here Srila Prabhupada is writing about that Srila Shukdev Goswami was a Vaishnava from the very beginning. So Vaishnava from the very beginning means right from the point he took birth. He was already a liberated soul. He was already a pure devotee of the Lord. Therefore, there was no need for him to undergo all the processes of the Varnashram. There was no need for him to undergo all the processes of Varnashrama institution. Now, what are the processes of Varnashrama institution? So the processes of Varnashrama institution are like, for example, as I mentioned, when the child takes birth in a Vedic society, then before he is accepted by the spiritual master, he has to undergo this Yagyopavit ceremony. So spiritual master would not give the training for spiritual education to everybody in the society. He would only give it to some selected people who are qualified to take that spiritual education. So he will notice that who is capable, who is not capable. And once he has found out who is capable, he would that person will undergo the Yagyopavit ceremony. And after going through this Yagyopavit ceremony, the person actually becomes a Dvija. Dvija means a twice born. Twice born means the first birth is from the mother, the second birth is from the spiritual teacher when he gives this Yagyopavit ceremony. So that is called Dvija. And then after that Dvija sanskar has happened, then the person actually gets trained into the Shastra, the Vedas and other Shastric literature. And after reading this Vedic study, after undergoing this Vedic study, the person now becomes a Vipra. Vipra means a Brahmana. He is now learned, he is now educated. That is why he is known as a Brahmana. And once this Brahmana is further advanced into his learning, into his understanding, and he comes to the point of bhakti of Lord Shri Krishna, he becomes a Vaishnava. That's where he advanced into a Vaishnava. So a Vaishnava is a very advanced position in the Vedic society. A Vaishnava is even higher than the Brahmana. So that is what it is being mentioned here, that Srila Shukdev Goswami actually was a Vaishnava from the beginning. Therefore, there was no need for him to undergo all the processes of Varnashrama institution. And ultimately, the aim of Varnashram Dharma is to turn a crude man into a pure devotee of the Lord or a Vaishnava. So that is the main purpose of Varnashram Dharma. So Varnashram Dharma is a platform where the various Varnas and the various ashramas are there. The society is divided into 4 Varnas and 4 ashramas. And the purpose of these 4 Varnas and ashramas is mainly to purify a person who has taken birth as a crude man. He doesn't know anything. And then in order to elevate that person into a pure devotee or a Vaishnava, all these ceremonies are done. But for Shukdev Goswami, it was not needed, because right from the very birth, he was a pure devotee of the Lord. So that is the whole context of this second verse, where Suta Goswami, the disciple of Shukdev Goswami, is offering his obeisances to his guru Shukdev Goswami. Now, he further glorifies Shukdev Goswami. Shukdev Goswami spoke Bhagavatam out of compassion for materialist people. Now, in this verse, you will see some of the glorification of Shukdev Goswami. Now, may I request Vasudevan Prabhu to kindly help me assist in reciting this verse. You can recite after me. I will recite line by line. Yasvanubhavam akhila shruti saramekam
Yasvanubhavam akila shruti saramekam
Adhyatma Deepam Atiti Tirshatam Tamo Andham
Adhyatmadipam matiti tirshyatam tamondam
Samsarinam Karunayaha Purana Guhyam
sansarinam karunaya purana guhyam
Tam Vyasa Sunum Upayami Gurum Muninam.
tam vyasasunu upayami gurumunam.
Wonderful, Prabhu. Very nice. Okay. Now let us see what this very beautiful and wonderful verse is glorifying. How this wonderful verse is glorifying Srila Shukdev Goswami. Now here, line by line. Ya Swanubhavam Akhila Shruti Saramekam. Let us go word by word. Ya Swa Anubhavam. Ya Swa Anubhavam. Swa Anubhavam. The word Swa means self, his own. Anubhavam means his own self-realized knowledge, internalized knowledge. So internalized knowledge means what? See, whenever we take some knowledge, the knowledge actually gets internalized after some time. So first of all, when we hear something, when we hear some knowledge, we only understand the knowledge in a superficial manner. But after meditating upon that knowledge, after maybe applying that knowledge, we get a deeper understanding of that knowledge. That is actually called internalization of knowledge. So here what is being said is, Ya Swa Anubhavam. Swa Anubhavam means by his own self-internalization of this knowledge of Srimad Bhagavatam. And what was that internalization of knowledge? What was the subject matter of that knowledge? Akhila Shruti Saram Ekam. Akhila Shruti. Akhila Shruti. Akhila Shruti Saram Ekam. So, it is talking about Srimad Bhagavatam. So, Shukdev Goswami internalized the knowledge of Srimad Bhagavatam, and how Srimad Bhagavatam is being mentioned here, Akhila Shruti Saram and Ekam. So this is the only book which is actually talking about the essence of Akhila Shruti. All the Shruti literature, all the Vedic literature, it is the essence, and this is the only book. It is the only book. Ekam and Saram. Saram means essence. Ekam means the only. Akhila Shruti. Akhila Shruti means for all the Vedic literature. Then Adhyatma Deepam. The second line is Adhyatma Deepam Atiti Tirshitam Tamo Andham. Adhyatma Deepam. Adhyatma Deepam. Adhyatma Deepam means lamp. So Srimad Bhagavatam here is being mentioned as the lamp of spiritual wisdom. Adhyatma Deepam. Like in the previous class, we had studied this verse where Srimad Bhagavatam was compared to a fruit. Fruit. Nigam kalpataror, like fruit of the desired tree of Vedic wisdom, desired tree of the Vedas. But here, Srimad Bhagavatam here is being compared as Deepam, a lamp of spiritual wisdom. And then Atiti Tirshatam, Tamo Andham. Tamo means darkness. Andham means blind darkness. So here it is being referred to as Kali Yuga. Tamo Andham is being referred to as Kali Yuga, or darkness of material existence. Atiti Tirshatam means, so in this material existence, there are some people who are desirous of crossing over from this material existence. They don't want to remain in this material existence. Not everybody in this world is interested towards accepting spiritual knowledge. Only few of those who are in this material world are interested in this in spiritual knowledge. So here it is being said that those who are in this darkness, blind darkness of material existence, but want to come out from this material existence. So for them, samsarinam means those materialistic people of this world. Karunayaha means out of compassion on those people. Samsarinam karunayaha. So out of compassion for the materialistic people of this world, Purana Guhyam means the most confidential Purana. The most confidential Puran means among the vast Vedic literature, we have this Srimad Bhagavatam, which is the ripened fruit of this Vedic literature. Saram Ekam, Akhila Shruti Saram Ekam, and this Purana Guhyam. So this Purana Guhyam actually has been spoken by Shukdev Goswami out of compassion for those people of the material existence of Kali Yuga who are into this dark, blind existence, and who actually want to come out from this blind, dark existence. Srimad Bhagavatam, which is like the essence of the Vedic wisdom, which is like the wisdom, which is like the lamp of the Vedic wisdom. For such people, Srimad Bhagavatam has been spoken by Shukdev Goswami out of compassion. To such a personality, Tam Vyasa Sunum. Tam Vyasa Sunum means the son of Vyasadev. To such son of Vyasadev, Upayami Guru Muninam. Upayami means my pranams, my humble obeisances. And another quality is Guru Muninam. Now this Shukdev Goswami is not an ordinary spiritual master. Shukdev Goswami is the spiritual master of spiritual masters. He's the teacher of the teachers. He's such a elevated personality. So that is why he's being mentioned here. Tam Vyasa Sunum Upayami Gurum Muninam. Like, so here you can see here. Now from this, now you can see the range of Srimad Bhagavatam. The range of Srimad Bhagavatam is for those people who are Tamo Andham. Tamo Andham means who are in the material existence, struggling to come out from this material existence, and Gurum Muninam. Muninam means already these spiritualists, these Muninams, these spiritualists are already elevated soul. So Bhagavatam actually is meant for both. The Paramhamsas, the exalted devotees, also those people who are in the samsara, who are in the material world. So that is the glory of Bhagavatam. But the glory of Bhagavatam here, glory of Shukdev Goswami is being mentioned by Suta Goswami, and actually Suta Goswami is offering his compassion, offering his obeisances to Shukdev Goswami by glorifying Shukdev Goswami. Now you can see here another theme that we can learn from this verse is the two qualities of the speaker of Srimad Bhagavatam. What are those two qualities? Realization. From where this word realization is coming? Swa Anubhavam. Realization. So the speaker of Srimad Bhagavatam should be qualified to speak with realization, with internalization. should not be a theoretical knowledge. It should not be simply a display of display of arrogant knowledge. No, it has to be with some internalization. He should have some deep understanding, and then compassion. And that person should also have the compassion. Here you can see this word compassion. Now, where the word compassion is coming? Karunayaha. This word karunayaha is coming and mentioning the compassion. So that is what we can learn from this third verse of this chapter. And now the fourth verse, Vasudevan Prabhu, can you also help me recite this verse? Narayanam namaskritya
Narayanam namaskritya
naram chaiva narottamam
naram chaiva narottamam
devim saraswatim vyasam
devim saraswatim vyasam
tato jayam mudirayet.
tato jayam udirayet.
Okay. Now here, after offering his obeisances to Shukdev Goswami, here Sut Goswami is now offering obeisances to the Supreme Lord Krishna, and he is also offering to few other personalities. Let us see to whom he is offering these obeisances. He is offering Narayanam Namaskrityam. Narayanam is Lord Narayan. Naram Chaiva Narottamam. Naram Chaiva Narottamam is being referred here to for Nar Narayan Rishis. So Lord Narayan first, then second is Nar Narayan Rishis, and then Devim Saraswatim. Devim Saraswatim is being mentioned for Saraswati Devi, the goddess of learning. Goddess of learning. And then Vyasam. Vyasam is Shila Vyasadev. Vyasam is Shila Vyasadev. Tato Jayam Udiraye. Tato Jayam Udiraye. Jayam. Jayam word. Jayam is actually for Bhagavatam, is actually meant for conquest. Conquest from what? Conquest from this material existence and entering into the divine service of Supreme Lord Krishna. So Tato Jayam Udiraye. So that is what of obeisances is being mentioned here. And if you would notice that in the beginning of Srimad Bhagavatam class, we actually begin with this verse, Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayam Udire. Now you get the background. Why do we recite this verse at the beginning of Srimad Bhagavatam? Now the picture that you see here is Srila Vyasadeva, who is compiling the Vedic literature. Okay. Can you just give me 1 minute? I'll switch on the light of this room because I see there is some darkness here. Just give me 1 second. Yeah. Okay. Now in the fifth verse, again he appreciates the sincere seekers, sincere hearers of Srimad Bhagavatam. So here, Vasudevan Prabhu, can you once again join me in reciting this verse?
Yes, Prabhuji.
Munaya sadhu prishtoham
Munaya sadhu prishtoham
bhavadbhir lokamangalam
bhavadbhirlokamangalam
yatkritha krishna samprashno
yatkritha krishna samprashno
yenatma suprasidati.
yenatma suprasidati.
Very nice. Okay. So Munaya sadhu prishtoham. Munaya sadhu prishtoham. So Munaya means, oh Munis, oh great Munis. Sadhu prishtoham. Sadhu prishtoham means you have asked a very relevant question to me. Sadhu. Sadhu means very nice. Sadhu prishtoham. Very relevant. Sadhu prishtoham. Prishto means you have asked me. Aham means from me. Then bhavadbhir lokamangalam. Your questions are actually for lokamangal. Lokamangal means It is actually for the benefit of the world. So the sadhus, the sages are always eager to do the benefit of the world. They are always very anxious that how can they benefit the other people in the world. So bhavadbhirs lokamangalam. Your questions are so nice that they are actually targeted towards lokmangal, benefit of the world. Yat kritha Krishna samprashno, yat kritha, yeah, yat kritha Krishna samprashno. And why it is for lok mangal? Because actually your questions are about Lord Krishna. Yat kritah Krishna samprashno. This is actually your questions are all about asking for Lord Krishna. And yenatma suprasidati. And the questions are the inquiries about Lord Krishna are always very pleasing to the soul. It gives pleasure to the soul. Yenatma suprasidati. Yenatma suprasidati. So here you can see the relevant words, nice words are Krishna samprashno. So these questions are very good because they are related with Krishna and they are going to do lok mangal and sadhu prishto, very relevant inquiries. Now, for the purport of this verse number 5, Srila Prabhupada writes, Vasudevan Prabhu, can you read these lines?
Satisfaction of the soul can only be obtained by questions and answers on the subject of Krishna.
Very, very relevant. Satisfaction of the soul can only be obtained by questions and answers on the subject of Krishna. Now, what is the theme? What is the lessons learned for us? We are all hankering for satisfaction in our life. Right from the morning we wake up till the time in the night we go to bed, what we are running after? We are running after for this satisfaction. We are running after for this happiness. And here the key for happiness is given in this verse. Satisfaction of soul can only be obtained by questions and answers on the subject of Krishna. So right from the morning, we are already started asking questions. Where is my tea? Where is my breakfast? Where are my clothes? Where I should take bath? Where I should work? Bring my bag, etc., etc. All kind of questions we are asking right from the morning. Even the animals are asking this question. Where is my food? Where are my children? Where is my home? Etc., etc. But when we are asking questions about Krishna, those questions actually can satisfy the soul. Yen atma suprasidati. That is what Suta Goswami is telling to the seekers of Srimad Bhagavatam. So your questions are so glorious and you have asked such nice questions that when I start answering these questions, it is actually going to do lok mangal. That knowledge is going to do lok mangal. And why it is so? Because the questions are about Lord Krishna and the response will always will also be about Lord Krishna. So that is what Suta Goswami is mentioning here. He's appreciating the seekers. Why? Because the question is about, the inquiry is about Lord Krishna. Now coming to the star verse of this chapter, and where the answer of the sages, now Suta Goswami is actually answering this question of the sages in this verse. Now, may I request Vidya Mataji to kindly help me recite this verse?
Yes, Prabhuji.
Okay.
Yes, Prabhuji.
Okay. Savai pumsam paro dharmo.
Savai pumsam paro dharmo.
Yato bhakti radhokshaje.
Yato bhaktir adho bhakshe.
Yato bhaktir adhokshaje.
Yato bhaktir adho bhakshe.
Yado bhaktir adhokshaje.
Yato bhaktir adho kshe.
Very good. Ahetukiya pratihata.
Ahityakyu apratihata.
Yayatma suprasidati.
Yayatma suprasidhati.
Yayatma suprasidati.
Yayatma prasidati.
Very nice. Very nice. Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. Now, what were the first two questions? Can anybody from the devotees can remind me? What were the first two questions?
What is good?
What is the ultimate good for the mankind? Yes,
Okay.
that is the question number one. What is the question number two?
May
What
I
is the-
put the sense of all scriptures?
Yes, Mataji, can you repeat that?
The
What is-
sense of all scriptures.
What is the essence of all scriptures? Very nice. So the first two questions was, what is the ultimate good for all? Ultimate good for all. You should remember all these six questions by heart. Ultimate good for all. The second question is, what is the essence of all the scriptures? Now the answer to both the questions is same. Answer to both the questions is same. And what is the answer to the both these questions is bhakti. What is the essence of all scriptures? It is bhakti. What is the ultimate good for all? Ultimate good for all is bhakti. So the answer for whatever is ultimate good for all is actually the essence of all scriptures. So that is very simple to understand. Now here, let us see. Go word by word, line by line. Sa vai pumsam paro dharmo. Sa vai. So sa means that. Vai means certainly. That is certainly pumsam. Pumsam means humans. That is certainly for humans. Paro dharmo. Paro dharmo. So ultimate good. Ultimate means what is the topmost good. So paro actually stands for ultimate. What is the ultimate dharma? What is the ultimate religion? So sa vai pumsam paro dharmo yato bhakti radhokshaje. So here there are two words, yato bhaktir and adhokshaje. So yato bhaktir means bhakti, or adhokshaje means, adhokshaje is another name for Lord Krishna. Another name for Lord Krishna. Adhokshaje means aksha. The word aksha, it is actually combination of two words, adha and aksha. Adha aksha. Adha aksha means eyes. So eyes is representing senses. And adha aksha means beyond the senses. Beyond the senses. So one who is beyond the understanding of senses is known as adhokshaja. So we cannot understand the Supreme Lord with our material senses. That is the meaning. Now you might have heard this verse while we were reading Bhaktir Samrat Sindhu, where the verse was Atha Shri Krishna Namadi na bhaved grahyam indriyai sevan mukhe hi jivvado swayam eva suratyada. The verse is Atah Shri Krishna Nam Adi na bhaved grahyam indriyai. Indriyai means senses. Grahyam means understood, or acceptable. Atah Shri Krishna Namadi. Say Lord Krishna's name, form, lila, gunas. We cannot understand from our material senses. We cannot experience those from our material senses. How we can experience? Sevan mukho hi jivvado swayam eva suratyada. But when we start offering our service to the Lord, sevan mukhe hi jivvado. And how do we offer this service to the Lord? We offer this service to the Lord with our tongue. So with our tongue we eat Krishna Prasad. With our tongue we chant the holy names of the Lord. With our tongue we do kirtan of the Holy Lord. With our tongue we glorify the Lord. So starting from our tongue, when we eat prasad, when we glorify the Lord, when we chant His name, then Surat Swayam Eva Suratyada. Suratya means at once, quickly. Swayam Eva, or automatically, by its own Suratyada, automatically, on its own, the Lord actually reveals us. So the word Adhokshaja here means Supreme Lord Krishna, who cannot be understood by our material senses. Eyes, ears, nose. We cannot understand Lord. So, sa vai pumsam paro dharmo. Sa vai pumsam paro dharmo yato bhaktir adhokshaja. So, what is the topmost religion for humans? That topmost religion is bhaktir adhokshaje, the bhakti of the devotional service of Supreme Lord Krishna, who is transcendental. And then what is the nature of this bhakti? The nature of this bhakti is ahetuki apratihata. Ahetuki apratihata. Ahetuki and apratihata. Now there are two sets of meaning of the word ahetuki and apratihata. One set of meaning is mainly related to the practice of bhakti, that how we practice bhakti, and the another set of meaning for these two words is it is the characteristic of bhakti. Now let me explain you one by one. So here the answer is clear. Before we go to the meaning of the word ahetuki and apratihata, I hope the answer is clear. There were two questions asked. What is the topmost benefit for everyone, and what is the essence of all scriptures? What is the essence? What is the ultimate good, and what is the essence of scriptures? The answer for both the question is bhakti of Supreme Lord Krishna. And while defining the bhakti of Supreme Lord Krishna, here two words are being used by Sutta Goswami. What kind of bhakti? Which is ahetuki and apratihata. Now let us see what are the meanings of the word ahetuki. Ahetuki, the first set of meaning is with respect to the practice of bhakti. How we practice bhakti. Now the first meaning is unmotivated. So ahetuki is made with this word hetu. Hetu means motivation. With what motivation we are practicing bhakti? So we should be practicing bhakti only for the motivation of serving Lord Krishna. There should not be any other motivation. Now in Srimad Bhagavad Gita, we have read in the 7th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, there are 4 kind of devotees. So can anyone remember that verse? What are those 4 kind of devotees? Or even if you don't remember that verse, can you remind me or remind the devotees? What are those 4 categories of devotees? Anyone?
Arth, Artharthi, Jigyasu, and Gyani.
Artharthi, Jigyasu, and Gyani. Very nice, Vrindavaneshwari Mataji. Thank you very much. Artharthi, Jigyasu, and Gyani. So who is Artha? Who is Artha?
The one who is in distress.
One who is in distress. So his motivation for bhakti is he goes to the Lord, asks the Lord, kindly remove my distress. So that is the motivation. So these are devotees, but they are motivated devotees. Then the second category is Artharthi. So Artharthi means what, Mataji?
Means the one who is in want or desiring money.
Desiring artha. Artha means money. So his motivation is artha. So second category of devotee, Artharthi. His motivation is money. Then Jigyasu. What is Jigyasu?
The one who's searching for Krishna.
Who is inquisitive. He simply wants to increase his knowledge. I understand this, I understand that, but I also want to understand what is bhakti, what is that. His interest is not Krishna, his interest is something to know about spirituality, something to know about devotional service, etc. So that is inquisitive, Jigyasu. And then the fourth one is Gyani. So who is the Gyani?
The Gyani is the one who is who has all the knowledge.
Yeah, who is looking for knowledge of Krishna, who is looking for knowledge of Krishna. So Lord Krishna later on mentions that Gyani actually is the topmost among these 4 categories. But the idea is ahetuki bhakti means without any motivation. So the motivation in all these 4 categories, something or the other. So ahetuki bhakti means it should be unmotivated. It should be only for the pleasure of the Lord. That bhakti, that is the parodharma. Like in Bhaktir Samrat Sindhu, we had read this definition of Uttama Bhakti. Uttama Bhakti, what was the definition? Anya abhilashita shunyam jnana karmadya anavratam anukulyena krishnanu shilanam bhaktiruttama. Isn't it? So what was the definition? It should be not associated with jnana or karma. Jnana karmadi anavratam and anya abhilashita shunyam. There should not be any other abhilasha, anya abhilashita shunyam. So that is anya abhilashita shunyam actually is meant here for unmotivated, ahetuki bhakti. Then The second word is apratihata. Apratihata. So one word was unmotivated. The second word is uninterrupted. Uninterrupted means that bhakti is not a part-time activity. It is not part-time activity. So I will chant today. Tomorrow I will take a break. Second day I will start chanting something. Fourth day I will continue with my regular chanting. No. Today I have the attraction for Hari Katha. Tomorrow I don't have attraction for Hari Katha. No. Uninterrupted. It should be executed uninterrupted without any breaks. Without any breaks does not mean that you don't sleep at night. For our self-preservation, we have to take some rest. We have to recharge our body, recharge our senses, and our other limbs. That we have to also take some food. By the way, that food also has to be prasad. That also is actually supporting the principle of bhakti. But the point is, it is not a part-time business. It is a full-time business. So the progress in our bhakti, whenever in our life we find that we are not progressing in our bhakti, then what should we do? We should check upon these two things. What is our motivation and what is our consistency of attempt? How consistent are we doing our bhakti, and with what motivation we are doing bhakti? Are we doing bhakti for the pleasure of the Lord, or are we doing bhakti for our own pleasure? So that is the two areas we need to check and evaluate when we are actually evaluating our own bhakti practice. So unmotivated and uninterrupted. So these are two meanings of the word ahaytuki and apratihata. It is mainly with respect to the practice of bhakti. How are we practicing bhakti? But then there is another set of meaning for the same two words, ahaytuki and apratihata. Like when you read Sanskrit, you will find the words will find different meanings, and the same verse can be explained in a different way, but still keeping according to the main message of the parampara, main message of the Vedic wisdom. It should not deviate from the main understanding of the main message of the Vedic wisdom. Now, the second meaning is with respect to the characteristics of bhakti. What is the nature of bhakti? So, nature of bhakti is here. It is being mentioned here, causeless. Ahaytuki means causeless. Causeless in Hindi means akaran. Karan means cause. Say why this tube light is being lit here, because it is recharged with electricity. So the karan of this tube light throwing some light is electricity. Karan. So karan for bhakti. What produces bhakti? From where does this bhakti comes? So bhakti is being mentioned as causeless. Causeless bhakti means that the cause of bhakti is no other thing except bhakti. Except bhakti, bhakti cannot be produced. That is the meaning of the word causeless. So this is the characteristics of bhakti. Now, if devotees would remember our Bhakti Samrat Sindhu classes, in our Bhakti Samrat Sindhu classes, in the beginning of these in these classes, we had discussed the characteristics of bhakti, samanya bhakti, bhakti in general, and in that we also discussed this causeless. Bhakti is causeless. What does causeless means? Causeless means that bhakti comes from bhakti only. Now, for example, in this life, if in this life some devotee is practicing bhakti, so from where this bhakti is coming? This bhakti is coming because the devotee actually practiced the bhakti in his previous life. From there, actually, his bhakti is coming. So that is actually meaning bhakti is coming from bhakti. Now you might ask, from his previous life, he did some bhakti, or maybe that bhakti also is coming from his still some previous life. But where did it all begin? Where actually it all started? So it may probably would start from the devotee actually giving the bhakti to the other devotee, to the other person. So bhakti comes from the heart of one devotee to the another devotee, like that. So that means that bhakti is causeless. The cause of bhakti is bhakti itself. Either it will come from the person's previous life's activities, devotional activities, or some other devotee from his heart, because that devotee has bhakti in his heart. That devotee will give bhakti to the other devotee by association or by other means, like that. That is the meaning of word causeless. Second meaning of word causeless. Akaran, ahetuki, causeless. Then apratihata. Apratihata, second meaning is, one meaning is uninterrupted. It should be performed, it should be practiced in an uninterrupted way. But it also means it cannot be checked. It cannot be checked means it cannot be stopped. It cannot be stopped. So what does it mean? It cannot be checked. It means that once we have started our bhakti practice, then whatever bhakti credits we start to accumulate in our bhakti account, they don't get diminished. It is different from the punyas or the papas, the sins and the good deeds that we do in our life. So when we do punyas and papas, uh, uh, or whatever material accomplishment we may have in our life, for example, somebody might become an engineer, somebody might become a doctor, but at the end of the life, when the death happens, then all these materialistic accomplishments, they are reset to zero. In the next life, the person has to start once again from scratch, A, B, C, D, E, F, G. But that does not happen with bhakti. That does not happen with bhakti. With bhakti, whatever bhakti you do in this life, in the next life, you start from the bank balance, the bhakti balance, the bhakti bank balance from whatever you have accumulated in this life. So it means it cannot be checked. Now this, when it does not diminish, that means what? It will only grow. It will only grow. Throughout your life, throughout your journey, spiritual journey, life after life, life after life, your bhakti account will continue to grow. In the next life, you once again will come in contact with some devotee. Your remembrance of your previous bhakti will once again ignite, and you will be attracted to that devotee, and you will continue your devotional life from that point onwards where you left in the previous life. So that is the second meaning of the word apratihata. Now in Bhagavad Gita also, we have relevant verse. नेहाभिक्रमो नाशो अस्ति प्रत्यवायो न विद्यते स्वल्पमप्यस्य धर्मस्य त्रायते महतो भयात्. So the endeavor of this bhakti life is that swalpamapasya dharmasya, whatever little endeavor we have done, trayate mahato bhayat, it saves us from the greatest danger. It is never neha bhi kramo nasho asti. There is no nash. There is no diminishing of this bhakti bank balance. That is the meaning of the word ahetuki and apratihata. So this is the answer to question number 1 and 2 by Srila Suta Goswami. Now the answer continues in the next verse, the 7th verse. Here, Vidya Mataji, once again, would you like to help me?
Yes. Yes.
Now I will recite. Vasudeve Bhagavati
Vasudeve Bhagavati
Bhakti Yoga Prayojita
Bhakti Yoga Prayojita
Janatyasu Vairagyam
Janyat Asu Vairagyam
Janatya Ashu Vairagyam
Janayatya Asu Vairagyam
Jnanam Cha Yada Hetukam.
Jnanam Cha Yada Ahatukam.
Very nice, Mataji. Thank you for your great endeavor. Thanks a lot. Yeah, okay.
Thank you.
Now, here Suta Goswami continues from the previous verse. Here is saying, Vasudeve Bhagavati. Vasudeve Bhagavati means Bhagavan Vasudev. He is referring to Bhagavan Vasudev. Bhakti Yoga Prayojita. So, Bhakti Yoga Prayojita means, in these two lines, when we do bhakti for Vasudeva Bhagavati, when we do bhakti for Bhagavan Vasudev, Bhakti Yoga Prayojita. Bhakti Yoga Prayojita means doing bhakti. Prayojita means doing. Bhakti Yoga. When we do bhakti yoga for Vasudeva Bhagavati, Bhagavan Vasudeva, then what happens? Janatyashu Vairagyam Jnanam Cha Yada Hetukam. Now he's saying Janatya. Janatya means producing. It is coming into effect. Janatya Ashu. Janatya Ashu Vairagyam. Ashu means very quickly. Janatya Ashu Vairagyam. So Ashu actually means here Turant hi. Turant hi means very quickly. Janatya Ashu Vairagyam. Janatyati means Utpanna Karna. Utpanna Karna means producing. So what does this bhakti for Vasudev produces? It produces what does it produces? It produces Vairagyam and Jnanam. Vairagyam and Jnanam cha yad ahaitukam. And what kind of Jnanam it produces? It produces ahaitukam Jnanam. It produces ahaitukam Jnanam. So let us see what does it mean. Now Suta Goswami already has answered this question in previous verse number 6. Now in verse number 7, he's elaborating a little bit on what he actually answered just now. And now you can imagine that in the assembly of the sages, there were many sages, and they are asking this question: what is the essence of all scriptures? What is the essence of all scriptures? Now in these scriptures, there are scriptures related to Jnanam also. There are the scriptures which are mainly focusing on Vairagyam also. So there are multiple uh, multiple thoughts, multiple teachings of these scriptures. So some scriptures are teaching Vairagya, some scriptures are teaching Jnanam. But here, in order to establish the supremacy of Bhakti Yoga, Suta Goswami is very nicely actually suggesting this thought that Bhakti Yoga is actually superior to Jnana and Vairagya here. So here is trying to kind of answer the second question: what is the essence of all scriptures? And he's answering the second question by telling that when you do bhakti, it actually produces jnana and vairagya. Both it produces jnana and vairagya. So you need not practice jnanam and vairagyam separately. But just by producing Vasudeva Bhagavati, you can produce jnanam and vairagyam. And what kind of jnanam it is? This kind of jnanam is ahetukam jnanam. This jnanam is ahetukam jnanam. Now ahetukam jnanam means what? Ahetukam jnanam here means knowledge devoid of desire for impersonal liberation. This jnanam has to be akaran. It has to be causeless. It has to be causeless. It simply has to be for serving the Lord. So we are not interested in impersonal liberation. Devotees are not interested in impersonal liberation, just merging into the Brahma Jyoti, the bright effulgent light. No, we are not interested in that. We are interested in serving the Lord. So ahetukam jnanam here actually means knowledge devoid of desire for impersonal liberation. That is the meaning of this verse number 7. Now here, let us read some of these beautiful points in the purport that Srila Prabhupada mentions. Vidya Mataji, can you help me here also?
Yes. Misconception about bhakti. Devotional service to the Supreme Lord Sri Krishna to be something like material emotional affairs. Second, bhakti.
Okay, just wait for Mataji, just wait for 1 minute. I'll explain point by point.
Yeah.
Now here, if you read the purport, this is the part of the sentence I have picked up from the purport. Devotional service to the Supreme Lord Sri Krishna to be something like material emotional affairs. Now here, Srila Prabhupada in the purport is talking about some class of people who consider bhakti simply as some emotional affair. So these are some people who become a little emotional about some spiritual practices, and this is all what they do. And they are little emotional people by nature. Right? So those who are emotional by nature, only those actually engage in the bhakti of Supreme Lord Krishna. So that is point number 1. That is the misconception about bhakti. Now, okay, can you read the second point?
Yes. Bhakti or devotional service of the Lord is meant for those who cannot perform the high-grade activities.
Yeah, high-grade activities. Now, what are these high-grade activities? These high grade activities are something uh, like for example, yajna, charity, austerity means tapasya, reading Upanishads, doing some meditation, meditating upon some impersonal Brahman, etc., etc. So these are considered to be among some class of people high grade activities. So bhakti or the devotional service of the Lord is meant for those who cannot perform the high grade activities. So this is the misconception. This is the misconception about bhakti. Okay. Then the third point.
Bhakti cult is meant for the Shudras, Vaishyas, and the less intelligent women class.
Okay. So this is another misconception about bhakti. So bhakti is meant for those people who actually are not very elevated, who are not very gifted, like Shudras or Vaishyas or less intelligent women class. So these are some of these misconceptions about bhakti. That is what Srila Prabhupada is mentioning in his purport. But then later on he clarifies, bhakti is for both advanced and neophyte. Mataji, can you read this one as well?
Bhakti is for both advanced and neophyte. It is sublime for the pure devotees who are serious about getting in contact with the Supreme Lord, and it is easy for the neophytes who are just on the threshold of the house of Bhakti.
Wonderful, wonderful. Now here you should focus on our attention on two words. What are these two words? Sublime. One word is sublime, and then the second word is easy. Second word is easy. Now bhakti is sublime for whom? Sublime actually means best. Utkrasht. Utkrasht means the best in class. The best in class. Sublime means the best in class. It is sublime for pure devotees. So pure devotees who are actually very much advanced in devotional life, it is sublime for them. It is best in class. They don't need any other process. And for neophytes, what it is easy. So like that, Prabhupada is clarifying this, that bhakti is for both advanced and neophyte. And the same thing you can see here is being mentioned in the previous verse, in this verse, 7th. Vasudeva bhakti yoga prayojita janatyasu vairagyam jnanam cha yad ahetukam. So bhakti is such a sublime process. It's such a nice process that it automatically produces vairagya. Vairagya means detachment, and it automatically fosters knowledge among the practitioner, the one who is practicing bhakti. So that is the meaning of this word, verse number 7. So here you can see the question has been asked and answered by Suta Goswami in these two verses. In the previous verse number 6, he's telling that what is the topmost ultimate good for people. Ultimate good for people is Paro Dharmo, which is Bhaktir Adhokshaje, Bhakti of Supreme Lord Krishna. And in the second verse, he's saying that it is actually the essence of all scriptures. Essence of all scriptures means jnana, vairagya, etc., etc. Bhakti actually takes care of everything. You don't need to practice other things separately. That is what he has answered first two questions. And we read some few things about the purport from the purport. Now, link to the next section. Now we have completed our first section of chapter number 2, where Suta Goswami offers his obeisances to Shukdev Goswami. He thanks the sages, and then he also offers to Lord Narayan, Narnarayan Rishi, Saraswati Devi, Srila Vyasdev, and then answers these first two questions of the sages. Now he's moving to the next sections. In the next section, he's elaborating upon the same theme which he has picked up in verse number 6 and verse number 7. So what theme did he pick up in verse number 6 and 7? He's saying that bhakti is topmost. And while saying bhakti is topmost, he's actually giving explanation why the other branches of spirituality are actually not topmost. So he's moving now from section number 1, from verse 1 to 7, which is section number 1, to the next section, which is verse number 8 to 15. Here in this verse, in this section, Sut Goswami elaborates on his answer. If bhakti is in topmost, what about varnashram dharma? What about varnashram dharma? So you will see that from verse number 8 till 15, Sut Goswami clarifies that varnashram actually is not the topmost. So as I was saying, that there are a lot of sages assembled in the assembly of Naimisharanya. And all these sages were not pure devotees. They were spiritualists practicing different kind of spirituality. Some was practicing jnana, some was practicing vairagya, some was dhyana, some were probably even practicing karma yoga or varnashram dharma. Now all of them now asking Sut Goswami, is varnashram not the topmost? Now Sut Goswami from verse number 8 till 15, he will answer that varnashram dharma actually is not the topmost. Bhakti is still topmost. That he will answer. Now we will take up this section 8 to 15 in our next class. But I hope you found the discussion in the today's class, which is from verse number 1 to 7. You understood it well, you digested it well, and it was interesting enough for you to keep your enthusiasm for reading Srimad Bhagavatam sufficiently high. So we will pause our class at this moment, and I would like to say thanks to everyone. All glories to Srimad Bhagavatam, all glories to Srila Prabhupada. And now it's time for some question and answers, some takeaways, some discussion. While you think of those questions, I would just mention that in every slide I'm mentioning the books that we were using for reference for this course. You can see that slide here. Also, the pictures of these books are here. And this chart also I'm sharing in every slide, where I'm trying to encourage you to not only hear the class, that is also good, but also go back to your study desk and do your own self-study of Srimad Bhagavatam. Not only do the self-study, but also try to participate in the quizzes that we will issue soon. That will be actually meant for your mananam, recollection. Nidhi Dhyasanam, we will try to do maybe later in our classes when we have progressed a little bit. This is mainly about deeper contemplation. It is even stronger than mananam when you are left meditating on your own about something from the scriptures. And then Kirtanam. Kirtanam means you can volunteer for presenting class summaries. So you can continue to do that. Give me the names if you're interested. So that is what from this class today. Thank you very much. There's one comment.
Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna.
Yes, Prabhuji. Yes, Prabhuji.
I can go ahead.
Yes, Prabhu, please.
Dandavat, and thanks very much for the best ever class, or all classes, they look best. So thanks a million, and all glories to my Guruji, and all glories to Srila Prabhupada. Only here I want one little clarification from my Guruji. See, in the Gita, first 6 chapters are Karam Yoga, next are Bhakti Yoga, then is a Gyan Yoga. While Bhakti Yoga is considered to be the superior, why it came in the middle 6 of those chapters?
Prabhuji,
Why not at the end?
Yeah, this is the third time you are asking this question.
Yeah, because I could not be satisfied so far. And today also is the same story. The Bhakti Yoga is the superior. Now, if you listen in Los Angeles when Vivekananda ji gave the lecture, he was asked what is the Sanskrit or Sanskar of Indian culture. So he said they are Tyag and Gyan. So now I really don't know. Now you have to clarify me, bring me out of this. Tyag and Gyan.
I will try my third attempt to answer your question.
Ji Guruji.
Okay.
Sorry
No, don't worry. No, that is certainly your prerogative. The prerogative of student is always to pose query, and it is the job of the teacher to try his best to bring out the clarity to the student. So, Prabhuji, first of all,
Guruji.
try to understand.
Ji.
Your question is very valid. Your question is very valid. Generally, when we read a book or when we read a body of literature, which is specifically written in a very systematic way, in a very coherent way, in a way where the author is writing that book after giving a lot of thought, after doing a lot of research. In that kind of situation, the author actually can produce a book which is very systematic and where he can build the concept gradually, and at the end, the author can actually
Manish, गाड़ी है ना बेटा?
Prabhuji, when you are done with your conversation, let me know, because it is for you. Okay, so what I was saying was that if you are producing some book which the author actually has given a lot of thought, deep contemplation, and writing in a very systematic manner, then in that book the author can develop the concept right from the basic, then a little advanced, and then a little more advanced, and little maybe finally giving the pinnacle at the end of the book, or in the conclusion of the book. That is a normal course of situation. But Bhagavad Gita actually is a conversation, and that too is a conversation on the battlefield. And here the conversation doesn't start from a very structured manner. There is a person who is going to fight a war, and actually is facing a deepest crisis of his career at that very moment. And the Lord has to bring out this person from that crisis in the war field. And he produces some questions, the Lord gives an answer, and that's how the conversation grows. Now, in the way this conversation grows in Srimad Bhagavad Gita, and if you follow the conversation closely, then in the 10th chapter, which is the chapter of Bhakti Yoga, the doubt of Arjuna is already gone. The discussion that is starting from almost chapter number 2, right from, say, for example, around verse number 7 onwards, the discussion starts from there, and then it continues to progress onwards. And in the middle of chapter number 10, Arjuna says that you are the Supreme Lord, you are the Param Satya, you are the Param Dhamam. Not only I understand it, but also the other rishis and other Devala, Vyasa, Asita, etc., they are also understanding you to be as the Supreme Lord. So in that particular chapter, already the doubt of Arjuna is gone. So Srimad Bhagavad Gita, for all practical reasons, has almost culminated at chapter number 10. So the point I'm trying to make, Kartar Prabhuji, that first of all, Bhagavad Gita is not something a book which is written after well thought contemplation. It is a conversation that has developed from question and answer what Arjuna has posed before Lord Krishna. So like that, it is a conversation. It is not a well structured thesis that Srila Vyasadeva has written in Mahabharata. No, it is not like that. And then even if you talk about at the end, so the end practically has come in chapter number 10, where Arjuna has accepted Lord Krishna as the Supreme Lord and has accepted his word that he should actually fight the war. He has accepted it from 10th chapter. From 11th, 13th, 14th, 15th chapter onwards, because in chapter number 12, Arjuna asked this question: what is the topmost worship? The worship of the impersonal or worship of the Sakar? The Sakar and Nirakar. So that question he poses before Lord Krishna. So Lord Krishna answers that question in chapter 12 itself. He says that Sakar worship is best. That is the best. That is easy. For those who are embodied, those who are in the bodily condition of life, that kind of worship is the best. But Nirvishesh worship or Nirakar worship is very full of difficulties. So in chapter number 13 onwards, he is actually addressing that particular aspect, because in chapter number 12, he's already answered Sakar worship. That is the end of Bhakti Yoga section. But in the 13th chapter onwards, he kind of elaborates about that particular aspect which he left undiscussed in chapter number 12. So that is what it means. I hope it might have given you some respite this time. Does it make sense, Prabhuji? Kartar Prabhuji, you are on mute. Looking forward to your feedback. Anyway, while Kartar Prabhuji comes back, any other question or any other comments by other devotees? Do you find the class interesting? Was it, digestible? First of all, please tell me one or two comments from that
It
perspective.
was absorbing,
Okay, very good.
but still,
It's very interesting, Prabhu.
Yes, Prabhuji, it is interesting. It's getting
It's
interesting.
getting more and more interesting.
It is getting interesting.
Yes.
Okay, so you are not
Yes,
feeling
yes.
bored or very, you're not finding the book very hi-fi or very.
No, we have to digest.
But
Yeah.
it's at least that we understand now more.
You are
than
understanding
before.
now. Okay,
Yeah.
that is good to hear. Okay.
When you get old, it takes time to understand.
Yes, madam. Yes.
That is true.
Okay. Okay.
Prabhuji, you
Ji,
are
Guruji.
explaining it. Prabhuji, you are explaining it so nicely.
Nice.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Very good.
Digestible.
Okay. So once that part is
Ji.
over, now coming to the question and answer. Kartar Prabhuji, are you back?
Ji, I'm
Okay.
back with you, Guruji.
Yeah.
Guruji, my
Okay.
question is, when he surrendered, after 10th this chapter, or after seeing the, Vishal Sarup of Krishna? Because
See, in 10th
still he did
in-
not see.
In
Is
10th
it in the
chapter,
10th? Is it
Yeah,
in the 10th
in
chapter?
10th
I don't know
in
really.
10th chapter, in 10th chapter, Arjuna already accepts Lord Krishna as the supreme person. Jivan Prabhu, can you find that verse for Kartarji? I don't have Bhagavad Gita near me.
Sure, Prabhuji.
I can- Yeah.
Sure, Prabhuji.
Anyway, yeah, in 10th chapter, I can also try it. But meanwhile, any other question from devotees?
if you can,
Yes, Mataji.
it could
Yes,
be
Mataji.
asking too much. Actually, I couldn't understand very clearly about causeless. Why bhakti is causeless?
Cause means, Mataji, there is some cause and effect.
Yeah.
Cause and effect. Why this mobile phone is receiving a SMS message? Because it is connected with the network, the telecommunication network.
Right.
So telecommunication network is the cause and the reception of the message is the effect.
Yes.
Right? So when we say bhakti is causeless, bhakti is causeless means that there is no other cause for producing bhakti except bhakti.
Okay.
So there is no cause of bhakti other than bhakti. So other than bhakti means either the person, the practitioner would have done bhakti in the previous life. So he already or she already has some bhakti credits in the account, and in the next life, when the person actually gets that impetus, gets that some motivation, some devotee comes in contact, or she visits or he visits a temple, or hears some kirtan, some bhajan, reads some book, that memory of from the previous life of devotional bhakti gets once again revived, rejuvenated, and the bhakti life once again starts in this life. So that is one way bhakti continues. It grows. It continues to grow. Then the other one is then somebody might ask this question, that at what point in the very beginning, what was the first time when this person actually got bhakti?
Yeah.
So that bhakti can come from the other devotee.
Okay.
And
So
you will see
never
that process. You will see that process in the coming verses. From verse number 16 till verse number 21, the process of bhakti has been explained. And so what can happen for this devotee is that this devotee might have done some service unintentionally, unknowingly, etc., for some other devotee. He might have given some donation, or might have
Maybe
done
the lost building.
some service like that. This person might have done that, creates bhakti, that generates bhakti. So
Okay.
bhakti comes from bhakti, from no other source. From no other source bhakti comes. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Okay.
Hare Krishna.
Okay, Mataji. Thank you. Any other question? Very good question. Any other question?
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Yes, Jivan.
The cause and motive, is it more or less same, you know? Cause or motive? Is there
Cause
any
means,
way
Prabhuji, motivation means impetus to do bhakti, practice bhakti. Impetus. Why are we practicing bhakti? So it is not cause. It is actually forward looking. Cause is something which is coming from behind, which is the initiating part. So motivation means, for example, like for example, a teacher is teaching his class.
Okay.
So let us discuss three type of teachers. So one type of teacher is teaching to the students, and what is his motive? His motive is to create citizens who are very responsible, who are very knowledgeable, who will do good to the country, who will be very patriotic, like that. So this is one motivation. The second motivation of the teacher is to earn money. So he's teaching some students just because he wants to earn money. He doesn't care what kind of students he's teaching. He simply wants that in his class at least 40 students should be there, and from every student he should be charging 2,000 rupees. So that 40 multiplied by 2,000, something like how much will that be? 80,000 rupees or whatever, 8 lakh rupees. That person is able to generate. So his motivation is money. Okay. Then the third would be that I just don't care what the students are doing. What are they really studying, not studying? And he's very lazy to go to the class. And simply his motivation to go to the class is that just the school keeps me as a teacher. I simply want to maintain the life as it is. So three kind of teachers, all having three different motivation. Okay. Similarly, when people come to bhakti, people may have this motivation that, oh, Lord Krishna actually remove my disease. Many times people get disease in their life, and they go to Vrindavan. They go to Vrindavan to do Giri Govardhan Parikrama. For what? Because the Lord will be merciful and their disease will be get over. They are also doing bhakti. They are coming in contact with Krishna. They are doing parikrama. They are also doing bhakti. But for what motive? Disease gets over. Artharthi. I get a better job, etc. Jigyasu. I have a better knowledge. My curiosity is satisfied. Some happiness I get by satisfying my curiosity. That is jigyasu. So these are various varieties of motivations. And the fourth motivation is merging into the impersonal Brahman. Mukti, moksha. That is also, some people are doing bhakti only for mukti. Okay. But the purest form of bhakti is we do bhakti because Lord Krishna will be pleased. Okay. Like, did you attended that class which I gave on Dhruv Maharaj? Dhruv Maharaj, Dhruv Charitra. In Hindi,
no, I attended, Prabhu. I attended.
Now you remember, Prabhu, for what motivation Dhruv Maharaj went to do bhakti in the forest?
No, he wanted for some material thing. He wanted to get some kingdom or something like that.
Kingdom. He wanted kingdom greater than his forefathers.
Yeah. That is some motive.
So he's the Artharthi. He was the devotee of Artharthi category. But ultimately he got the topmost benefit. But when he got the topmost benefit, if you study the prayers of Dhruv Maharaj in Bhagavatam, Dhruv Maharaj is feeling repentance. In his prayers, he's expressing his repentance again and again. What kind of motive actually I came to you? Mujh par dhikar hai. Shame on me that I went to you simply for a larger kingdom. When I got your darshan, actually I realized I should have come to you only for you, not for anything else.
The gold jewel.
Only for you. That is So that is the kind of bhakti. The bhakti gives such a joy, such an immense joy to the practitioner when it is done for only for the pleasure of the Lord, that no other joy in this world actually can compare to this joy. Not even the joy of liberation actually compares to this joy. So that is called ahetuki bhakti, in
Thank you.
unmotivated,
Thank you.
unmotivated, causeless.
Okay,
Yeah.
thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. Any other questions? Any other doubts or takeaway points you like from the class? Okay. Silence means you are done with the class, or you are satisfied with the class. Now we bring this class to the pause, to the rest, and we continue with our discussion onwards from 8th
Guruji,
verse. Yes, Prabhuji.
Guruji, he's still there. I am there. Did he surrender to Lord after seeing Vishal Roop, or he surrendered on 10th?
No. Vishwaroop comes in 11th chapter, Prabhuji. Before Vishwaroop. Before Vishwaroop, he already accepted the Lord.
Param
He
Brahma,
understood.
Param Dham,
It means
Param Brahma, Param Dham.
so my concept
Pavitram
was
Paramam
so
Bhavan.
far.
Purusham Shashvatam.
Yeah. See, if you read text number 14, Prabhuji, Kartar Prabhuji, what Arjuna is saying, "O Krishna, I totally accept as truth all that you have told me. Neither the demigods nor the demons, O Lord,
Still
can
he was
understand
doubting
me."
him.
No, he was not doubting. I totally accept the
Ji,
truth,
Guruji.
all that you have told
Ji,
me.
Guru.
Sarvam etad ritam manye. Sarvam etad. Sarvam means all. Ritam manye. Ritam means truth. I accept. Yanmam vadasi Keshava. Nahi te Bhagwan Vyaktim. Vidur Devana Danava. Sarvam etad ritam manye. So Lord Arjuna already understood and accepted Krishna's message by chapter 10. So Gita practically was over at chapter 10. He was already ready to fight. Arjuna was already ready to fight in chapter 10. There was no need further. But in order to complete the conversation, Lord Krishna explained something about Jnana Yoga. And even if you read Jnana chapters, in every chapter, practically every chapter, it is the bhakti of the Lord that has been ultimately glorified.
I agree with you, Guruji, but I don't know.
We will
What
take it
is-
separately, Prabhuji. We will take it separately. We will take
Yeah,
it
yeah,
separately.
yeah. Because then why they kept Gyan Yoga at the end?
That is what I was trying to explain you. It is not a book which is written in a very structured manner. It is a conversation that develops one after the other. That is how the conversation is. So it is not something like that. A thought process has been developed from basic, then to next level, then to the next level. It is a conversation.
Yes. Yeah, it's not on.
So conversation in a conversation, the topmost message can even come in the very beginning.
Ji, Guruji.
In the very beginning, also the crux or the sar or the essence can come, and that you will see in 6th chapter. You will see that in 6th chapter also. The last verse. Okay.
Thank you. And then another comment was in the beginning you asked whether the class helps or the recorded listening is helping. So one of my Prabhu, he said I could not attend class, so I was helped by the recorded.
Okay,
my view is if I attend a class and then listen the recorded message, Sone pe Suhaga, it becomes very, very helpful.
Yeah. So
and I'm obliged to you. You have done this also for us. Besides taking class,
actually, I'll tell you the secret. Actually, I'll tell you the secret. The secret is you are actually benefiting me by giving me the opportunity to present the class. So don't worry about it. So we are helping each other. Let us settle there.
Ji Guruji. Okay. Thanks a million. And all glories to my Guru, all glories to Srila Prabhupada, all glories to all sadhus. All
Wonderful.
glories to everybody.
Okay, ji. Thank
All
you, ji.
glories to
Hari
my
Bol.
Guru.
Hare Krishna.
Ji. Hare
Okay.
Hare Krishna. Hare
Hari Om.
Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna to Hare Om to all.